was.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Anyway, I wanted to take you on to a little wander down the insanity of toxic fandom, because I think toxic fandom might well change. This is hilarious, right? This is from the other day. Okay. If you ever go to a Doctor Who event, please don't be a fool and be rude to other fans, etc. If you don't like a specific era, that's cool. But being cruel to fans who do and actors and writers who are involved is unnecessary and inappropriate. If you can't stay quiet, don't go. So what's obviously going on here is somebody said, oh, Jodie Whittaker era was shit. I mean, and they just can't deal with this reality that Jodie Whittaker's era was shit, right? And every time they hear it, they feel like it's a personal attack. It's not a personal attack. It's that we all hated it because it was shit, right? She was horribly miscast, and I know these people were insulated from that reality for a long time. So so this is where it's from. Helen, who supports the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike, I support it going on forever, right? Absolutely forever. Oh, and I heard J.J. Abrams just had his deal cancelled.
He's had his what, sorry?
J.J. Abrams just had his first look deal cancelled by force majeure with Warner Brothers.
Oh,
well,
brilliant.
Like Hollywood's out of money. They're fucked. I mean, like Disney is contractually obligated to buy Hulu right now, right? By the final third of Hulu. When they signed on this deal, I believe the rough evaluation in 2019 was $27.5 billion, right, for their final third. Now it's a much more valuable platform. Apparently, it's the second largest streaming platform just after Netflix, which is worth $200 billion. So Disney has to come up with a third of whatever the valuation is. And so let's say the valuation is $150 billion, which could well be. They got to come up $50 billion. They can't do that. They just don't have that. They will have to sell major stuff to be able to do it.
To be able to do it, yeah. I mean, looking at what Williams said there, and I know William a little bit, and I don't really know. William is he's not really any fonder of the Whittaker era than either of us. Not really. If you read between the lines of what he says,
the line.
But he can't resist in towing this line.
Political line.
And I've spoken to him about it before, and he and we've cleared the air a lot. And I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying that I'm puzzled by statements like this. I think they're unnecessary. I say he's not a child, so I don't want to patronise him, but I think this is unnecessary. And Helena, who's had this experience here, how many of us...
Before you go, let me read it. I haven't got to it yet. Had a very frustrating and upsetting experience in a convo about the 13th Doctor Day. Felt completely ganged up on and invalidated by the entire room. Everybody hated it, you dumb cunt! That's why! It's like, I'm sorry we all hated it because it was shit! Stop crying!
Well, Helena's experience was the experience of pretty much every Doctor Who fan from, say, 1982 through to 2005?
Yes.
All the time.
Exactly. I mean, listen.
I'd say to Helena,
fan wasn't a magnet for the ladies. Let's just put it that way.
Well, and more above that, it was certain to get you abject ridicule. I mean, this actually sounds quite tame compared to some of the experiences that I had.
People saying the 13th Doctor was shit. Get over it, darling. Chibnall's writing was atrocious. It was sub-professional. So what's this going on? This almost sounds like people having a conversation and disliking 13. I don't see a problem with this at all. Yeah. It's okay to have an opinion. It doesn't seem like they inserted it anywhere they shouldn't have.
Well, William, in William's piece there, in his statement at the top, he's taking it upon himself, William, to speak from a place from assuming a high ground, in my view, in the way that he's speaking, as if he knows the way to deal with this. But the problem is that Helena William's speaking as if it's a loud minority of unreasonable, cruel people who go into these situations and kind of spoil it for others. And that's not what's actually happened if you read
and they act like they're looking forward to spoiling it. No. People just say, oh my God, it was unwatchable shit. I'm sorry it was unwatchable shit.
And Helena was in the minority quite clearly, which is never a nice experience to be if everybody disagrees with the take that you've got, particularly if you're a little bit younger. It can be quite hard. But I'm sorry, you do have to kind of sort of grow a pair, you have to temper your own character, I suppose, by suffering these kind of slings and arrows. And if you enjoyed it, Helena, absolutely stand by the reasons, communicate why you enjoyed it. And if people disagree with you, then so what? It's one thing I just find statements like this a little. I don't think he's. The thing is, I don't think he's being. Is he being false? I don't think he is. I think he genuinely feels that this is the best way to try and address these matters, and I believe that William is at fault there. I don't think there's any need to do this. I think that as a content creator, he's got plenty of his own opinions that people do want to hear, that are valid, and lots of his own idiosyncrasies, and he should go with those and just maybe drop Helena a DM and say, look, sorry you went through that. If there's anything you can do, you want somebody to talk to, then that's one thing. But statements like this aren't going to help anybody or solve anything. Helena just needs to grow up and accept that people don't like the same things that she does.
But she's coming from a generation that have been robbed of the ability to be wrong about anything.
Exactly.
Right? It's just like they're so weak. It's such a weak generation.
And mate, it's one thing to be wrong about objective things. Anybody can get their facts wrong, but to be wrong or to be swimming against the tide in something as subjective as whether you enjoyed a TV show or not, is it really this amount of trauma? I mean, yeah, I believe that the Whittaker era is objectively bad on that kind of level. But if somebody enjoys it, then they enjoy it. I mean, I'm sure that I know that some people say they enjoy it when they don't, but that's another matter. But if somebody says they enjoy it, I have to take it at face value. And if they want to, I can't help it if they proclaim their love of the Timeless Children or some other nonsense. If I go white all over and have some sort of flashback like a NAM veteran to the 50 minutes of my life I spent watching that.
Oh, I've watched it more than once. It was every time.
Yeah, I think I can't speak this evening. That one I watched once, but I think all the other episodes I have sat through twice.
Yes, I kept falling asleep during them because they're so freaking awful.
Oh, unbelievable.
And they were so freaking awful. How much time do you have? Because you're on in an hour and a half on your channel.
Yeah, I got on a little later than usual. I've noticed that Paul Toastland in the chat says, "How does he get away with at BBC William Pooh?" Nobody knows, Paul, and nobody knows. He has again something to ask him. I think they're turning a blind eye.
I think they're turning a blind eye. And I think they'll be wrong not to. Right? Like what's the big deal?
Karney Shomron, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.